I thought of orienting this morning's program towards mindfulness. Even within the meditation on the breath, the foundations of mindfulness can be fulfilled if we remember to be aware of the material body, the actual movement of the body with the breath coming in and out, the actual breath itself coming in and out of the body, and the actual sensations of the breath touching the body. We can be aware of the constantly changing stream of the Vedana that can happen with the breath. Could be that if we need some air, that could be slightly unpleasant, and then inhaling and receiving the air can be pleasant. Then when it's too much air or we don't want any more, it could be unpleasant. And then when exhaling and relaxing can be pleasant. So even the Vedana is continuously there to be something to be experienced, as something to be noticed, something which is ever changing. And it's very possible while breathing in and while breathing out to be fully aware or to remember to be aware of the state of mind. Is the mind bright and clear and connected to the breath? Is the mind open? Or is the mind constricted or sleepy or distracted? These things can be noticed during the rise and fall of the breath. And as far as the Dhamma goes, one can notice whenever the mind goes away from the object of meditation, that it can be that some hindrance has come up. One can see the hindrance. Or while the mind is staying clear, bright, aware, and connected to the breath and to all these ever-changing phenomena of the breath, that the factors of awakening are present in us. And so then, if we're aware of those dhammas, then we know what to do to make the meditation as good as it can be, to be aware with clarity and compassion of those dhammas. And even another wonderful part of the Dhamma that can arise right together with this rising and falling of the breath is remembering to be aware that it's impermanent. Remembering to be aware that it's not personal, not my breath, not me, not mine. And remembering to be aware that this whole meditation is subject to conditions. subject to impermanence. And therefore, no matter how wonderful this meditation is, all conditioned things are aspects of dukkha, and therefore we don't want to cling to them. We just want to be aware without any clinging whatsoever. So in this preamble, I've given a chance to plant a review of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, which I think most of us are quite knowledgeable of and have practiced with for a long time, with the invitation that now, as we sit for meditation, we can allow any aspect of the foundations of mindfulness to come into our awareness. It doesn't mean that we've given up the breath. It's like we breathe in, aware of the body, breathe out, aware of the body, breathe in, aware of the feeling or the Vedana, and so on. That all of these foundations of mindfulness are right together with the awareness of the rise and fall of the breath. So with this, let us get ready to sit for meditation. I welcome everyone to come to an upright and balanced posture. When the head and the spine are balanced, they're not tending to fall forwards or fall sideways. Instead, just balanced. It just takes the most gentle little energy to keep them upright and balanced. Seeing that the hands and the arms are arranged in a comfortable way. Seeing that the legs are arranged in a comfortable way. It's worthwhile to take a minute to organize the posture of the body so as much as possible can stay still for the whole meditation. And then relaxing the body. Relaxing the face, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the belly, relaxing the hips, relaxing the knees, relaxing the feet. If there's any mental agitation from something that happened before or something that might happen later, decide to let go of that, to just leave that aside for now, just to be in the present here and now for this meditation. Then taking a deep, long breath in. And a long breath out. Releasing any tension. Breathing in long. Breathing out long to relax. And then simply allowing the breath to come and go by itself. Aware of every in-breath, every out-breath, and the space between. If any other sensation comes along, like a bodily touch somewhere else, a pain or something, breathe in, noticing that, aware, and breathe out, relaxing, including everything together with the breath. As if the breath is touching every part of the body, aware of breathing in, aware of breathing out. The whole body is breathing. Whenever connected, awareness to the breath, aware of the feeling, if awareness goes to something else, aware of that feeling. If awareness returns to the breath, aware of that feeling. If awareness remains on the breath, aware of that feeling. Aware of the state of mind. Constantly changing, difficult to grasp. Letting awareness stay calm, still, centered, watching the play of the mind. If the mind goes through all different states, watching over the mind from that point of stillness. Like a loving parent watching the children at play. And if the mind is just still, just connected in awareness with the breath, aware of that mind. Well, dear friends, in the theme that we're developing this week about the Satipatthana, it's partly inspired by something that came up during, well, I'm taking a Pali class, Pali grammar, and we had to read a sutta, which was called the shopkeeper. And the monk is compared to a shopkeeper. And just like the shopkeeper takes care of his job, the monk is supposed to take care of the four foundations of mindfulness, morning, afternoon, and night. I should say early in the morning, at midday, and in the afternoon. He should take care of the foundations of mindfulness. But the way it's expressed in that particular sutta, it's using a special Pali word. I'll type it in the chat. You're going to see this word in the next few days. Samadhi nimitta. This is a Pali idea that gets translated in a variety of different ways. And because the translation is not consistent, we might not notice how often this teaching is given. Samadhi is the last point on the Eightfold Noble Path, and that is the focused meditation, or the unification of the mind, or full meditation. You might guess that the nimitta is going to be like the bright light that you see in meditation, or the sign of concentration, but that's not what it means. In this context, what the nimitta means is that which is the base for meditation, or that which is the nutriment, the supporting nutrition for meditation. And so what the sutta says is that the four foundations of mindfulness are the nutriment for tranquility. We can think about this for the next few days. If we really practice being aware of the four foundations of mindfulness all day long, as well as in our meditation period, how does it support helping us to calm down, helping us to be centered and not distracted, helping us to be imperturbable and not disturbed? And then, based on that, the samadhi nimitta is not just helping us to have a good meditation later on, or to have jhanas later on, but it's helping us to develop the enlightenment factor of samadhi. So very powerful. But I just like to think about doing this experiment, practicing with the four foundations of mindfulness. Just the simple instructions: be aware of the body, be aware of the Vedana, be aware of the state of mind, be aware of the Dhammas, both in terms of, sati, one part of sati is remembering to be mindful. So remembering to be aware of whether the mind is in a bright state or in a dark state, in a state that's leading us to more development and gain on this path, or if it's in a state that's taking us away from that. And then even more so, can we remember to be aware of impermanence all day long, at morning, at midday, and night? Even throughout 1 30-minute set of meditation, can we remember to be aware that everything is changing, minute by minute by minute, all through one entire 30 minutes of meditation? So with these thoughts, I would welcome Any observations or comments that anybody has about the how the meditation was today, or any questions you have about what I'm suggesting? And I see Savi has the hand up. Please
Yeah.
unmute and go ahead.
Yes, hi, thank you. Um, when we started the meditation, well, a little way through, I just had this realization, and it's like I know this, but this it maybe it got embodied that it's the chattering mind that impacts my state of being. And when I can get the mind calm, I will then be more calm. And I mean, it's not, I've been on a deep spiritual path for a long time. And like I said, I know that intellectually, but it really landed just right in the meditation today. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for that observation. And indeed, you are pointing out to something else that I'm coming more clear about because of just the recent work we've been doing in the Dhamma. And that is that the Yoniso Manasikara, the mindfulness and clear contemplation, has a way of bringing us through this breakthrough of a realization, some insight. And then part of the work of mindfulness then is remembering to keep the insight once we've gotten it. So now you saw that. Don't forget. Try to remember it as you go through the day or as you go through the next sit of meditation so that you don't lose what you've gained. Instead, keep it going. And it's certainly true that sometimes, we're all busy people. We've got a lot of responsibilities. And during meditation, like, I need to scold somebody about something, or I need to send a thank you note, or I need to do something like that. And these thoughts come along, and we may think, we need to do this, thinking might as well think these thoughts. But if we remember to be aware of the bright and dark states of mind, that thinking about chores is not nearly so bright as being aware of the breath. And then we may choose during these precious minutes that we have to be aware of the breath. Good. Thank you so much. Ravante.
Thank you, Aya, for the guided meditation. I found it very beneficial. If I remember right, I heard you saying 5 hindrances are factors of awakening. If I want to ask, were you referring to like when the mind is evaded by a hindrance, then at that point we look at it, we investigate it, so that becomes the investigation of mind sambojjhanga. And is that what you meant by that? That's one of the questions I wanted to ask. The other one is, if I may ask, could you tell the party of the sutta that you mentioned?
The sutta, I'm writing this in the chat. This is not papa like evil. This is just the papanika. Papanika is a shopkeeper. So it's the Papanika Sutta. And you might be able to find it. And we'll be discussing that as time goes by, because it just turned out to be very interesting for us. Now, when you think of the Dhammanu, Dham, Dhammanupassana, which is the fourth of the four foundations of mindfulness, especially in the long discourses, there are so many amazing subjects given under Dhammanupassana as subjects for contemplation. It's like almost a whole encyclopedia of the Dhamma is right there in the fourth point of the Satipatthana. But I have heard somewhere that originally the most sort of like basic or topics under Dhammanupassana is to be aware of 2 points. First is the contemplation of the nivaranas, or the hindrances, and the second is the contemplation of the bojjhangas, or the factors of awakening. So now there's a whole lot that could be said about if one is aware that a hindrance has arisen, then how to dispel and abandon and release that hindrance. But even before we can be able to get out of that hindrance, we need to be able to recognize it as a hindrance. Otherwise, we won't have the motivation. We might just think, aversion has arisen in me, and the breath is like kind of like boring, and thinking about my hates is more fun than thinking about the breath or something like that. So you've got to recognize it as a hindrance. And it could be that just seeing it very clearly with mindfulness is enough to make it break up like that, without having to go any further. That just awareness makes the hindrances break up as fast as they arise. And just the same way, it allows us then clearly, if we've had taken time to really learn and memorize the factors of awakening, that any one of those factors arises, then it's like sort of a welcome guest. We allow that factor to be present in our meditation, and that will help us to further develop the samadhi.
Thank you.
Right.